British and other international powers recently have kind of, I think they're coming to realise that their investment in Somalia, it hasn't really paid that many dividends, and they're also, I think, coming to realise that they will not be able to defeat al-Shabaab militarily.
We did make very good progress for the next few years, but alas, today that progress is in reverse. And it's a very great pity. The fact that Somalia is going backwards is not just a local issue, it's a big international issue because it affects, pollutes and corrupts the region.
To me, it is blatantly ridiculous. It is based in no way on reality, and it desperately cries out for a dramatic reevaluation of U.S. government policy towards Somalia.
But British and American officials now believe it's no longer enough to change policy towards Somalia. The international community also has to drastically rethink its engagement with Somaliland.
Well, my position is we absolutely should look at some kind of a formal relationship with Somaliland because it is a state that works. I got to know the very first president when I was ambassador in Ethiopia, and he was beyond frustrated because he said, "Tell me again, Mr. Ambassador, that if I had a terrorism problem, then the United States would cooperate with me. Is that correct?" I said, "Yes." But because I don't have a terrorism problem, the United States, so they don't get any foreign assistance. They are a stable, working nation, and they conduct elections. You know, so to me, it's a no-brainer, and they have a historical point to make.
That Somaliland is essentially a self-governing, independent nation. Of course, there's this difficult tie with Mogadishu and with all the corruption, the fighting, the blood, and the horrific things that go on there. And the sooner that is untied, the better, in my political opinion, because it can't help Somalia. It doesn't help Mogadishu. They won't listen to anything, globally or locally. And Somaliland, meanwhile, has forged straight ahead in a special way, and that deserves full international recognition.
The British Foreign Office basically said, we're in favour of Somaliland moving towards independence, so long as the African Union agree. And there is a very strong case for Somaliland going it on its own, having that independence. I mean, it restores it to the position it was in before, and also it honours the fact that it's doing so much better in every way than the rest of Somalia.
So, a few things there. First of all, Somalis have been governing themselves effectively for 1,000 years. So they're not ungovernable. But they've never taken to the nation state idea. That's the thing that has proven so difficult to consolidate. But that's also the thing that Somaliland's done that no one else has to the same extent in that region. So I think that's where Somaliland's sort of exceptionalism lies.
In some ways, an independent Somaliland is in the interest of all Somali peoples. It's a place where they can come and do business. It's a place where they can seek security. It's a place where they can trade with the outside world. It's a place where they can educate their children. So until all Somalis, wherever they live, see that it is actually in their personal and family's interest to have this country called Somaliland independent, where they can benefit from, that's the point, I think, at which the rest of the international community will also turn towards Somaliland and said, you're actually a solution to a lot of people's problems in the region and internationally.
The question of Somaliland, its independence and the prospect that it might ever, there might ever be a time when Somaliland would see fit to rejoin the rest of former Somalia, I personally don't see so, certainly not in my lifetime. I can't tell in 50, 60 years' time the situation may change, but right now I don't think you would stand a chance. Even if you were a politician active in Somaliland who in the back of their head somewhere believed that this might be some good idea, the people would never let it happen.
I think that's absolutely right. I cannot see a situation where people in Somaliland will look at what's happening in the rest of Somalia now and say it is positively in our interest to join Somalia and be governed from a central government in Mogadishu. It doesn't speak to their security agenda. It doesn't speak to their prosperity agenda. Second to that is that Somaliland seems to be on an upward economic curve. This nation of deal makers are making deals with large international investors, and more will follow in power, infrastructure, and many other fields. But that's still not going to answer this question of recognition. Somaliland's been in this limbo for 30 years. And I think Somaliland has really missed over the last 30 years playing the very powerful set of cards that it has. It's all about a recognition that works for everyone, not just Somaliland, but the rest of Somalia, but also for the international community. I mean, the international community and the stakeholders in the Somali region are stuck. There's no other way of putting it. And I know that because I've spoken to the policymakers directly. They are tearing their hair out and they don't know which way else to turn. And part of their solution lies in what Somaliland has done.